So, good morning. How's everybody? Well, I'm great. You know, I always like to do a little mental health check. Everybody good? Good. All right. Well, let me just say I'm very, very excited this morning. We know that in Baltimore we really have some great people and some folks who I consider to be shining stars that sometimes go unnoticed. And that's why I wanted to bring a few of our talented people here to share with you all. Engineers before you this morning and tell you how wonderful they are and how much they've contributed to our city. We have at the Department of Public Works engineer Nathaniel Krause. Did I say it correctly? Good. Who will receive the Young Engineer of the Year award and from the Engineering Society of Baltimore at a ceremony tomorrow night. I'm really excited about him, and so I wanted his director to say a few words, and then perhaps he'll say a few words. The reason I'm doing this is because I know that they're talented people throughout the city, and oftentimes they get buried into our agencies, and folks don't know about the work that they do. But what I'm trying to do is encourage our department heads to allow that talent to bubble up to the top, because you would be surprised at how they can help us change city government. And oftentimes they don't get to share their talents. And I say to all of our department heads, find inside of your departments these kinds of gems and let them help us transform government. Last week, I think you all witnessed Open City Hall. A young person working with our Department of Finance was actually the person who helped to design that. So, Mr. Chow.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good morning, everyone. As the mayor indicated, Nathaniel have won the engineer from the Engineer Society of Baltimore, the 2017 Young Engineer Award. He received the Young Engineer Award from the Maryland chapter, local chapter of ASCE last year, which qualifies him for this year's award. It's an awesome award for the department, certainly, as we continue to rebuild our department from the ground up. We hired a lot of young, talented young engineers coming straight out of school in the last couple of years. Certainly, Nathaniel has been with us for more than 5 years. He is working in our Office of Laboratories and Compliance, and he does stormwater reviews and all that. Again, congratulations to him. I think that speaks volume to what the department is doing, what under the mayor's leadership, as we continue to rebuild Baltimore. Thank you.
So would you like to share a few words? Tell me like a little boy.
How old are you?
I'm actually the youngest in our department. Staff. Krause, Krause. It's a pleasure working for the Department of Public Works in the city of Baltimore. It's wonderful to be able to have my hands in development happening throughout the city and to actually see Baltimore changing in a lot of cases in the positive aspects, which brings me a lot of joy when I'm working. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nathaniel, is there any particular project or work that you've done or are doing now that you're really excited about, that you think is really important?
All development is important in some way or form, from somebody just building a house in Baltimore City to the casino coming into the city to the Port Covington development, to just general public works improvements for replacing of water lines, to working on our consent decree issues, and to improve the water quality in the city. So everything has its tiny little aspect. It may seem small, but it actually has a major plate and role in the city government.
Who's your parent?
What?
Who those folks are there?
This is my supervisor, Rosanna LaPlante.
It's like, who are those people? Come on over. It's like, are they their parents? Who are? See, I don't get deep down in all the departments. I need to just walk around a little bit more so I can get to meet some of the folks.
I'm Rosanna LaPlante. I'm Nathaniel's direct supervisor, and he has been a huge asset for me. He was actually here before I got to the city, and without him, we would have a lot of trouble functioning in our section. He's been a wonderful asset. Besides doing the plans review, he also took a huge role in developing our database for our compliance with MDE for MS4. And this is something that the counties all hired consultants to do. But as my boss, Kimberly Grove, likes to say, we didn't need to hire a consultant, we got Nathaniel.
Good.
Nathaniel, are you from Baltimore? If so, where'd you go to high school? That's the
I
big
am
one.
not from Baltimore. I am from West Virginia.
It's okay.
That's what we're trying to grow in the city.
But he lives in the city now.
But he's in addition to Baltimore, and that's a good thing. Did you want to say anything?
He's part of.
Oh, you're part of, you're on this side. Okay.
We needed his height, we needed his height up.
Oh, Get it all
Actually,
together.
I'd like to ask Rudy a question though about the
Sure,
stormwater
go ahead.
projects.
Sure.
So we're familiar that one of the big projects that you're trying to remedy is the pipe at the backwater treatment plant, which sits lower than the.
Actually, that's a sanitary sewer line, not stormwater, but.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So what's the progress on that?
We are continuing to progress. We are working with our contractor. As you know, that's under a alternative delivery approach, which is stand for Construction Management at Risk, or CMAR. We are still working through with our prime contractor, negotiating on the pricings and so on and all that.
So there hasn't been a contract, there
No.
hasn't been a deal made
No, has
to
not,
go forward with the work?
has not.
And that's because of the cost?
Well, the costs, as well as we need to continue to work out the schedule. This is alternative delivery. That means we're working hand in hand with the contractor, unlike the typical traditional, we do the design, we put it out for bid, and then afterwards, they go to work. This is a collaboration between the city engineering staff, along with the contractors, their engineering staff, and our consultants in collaboration in developing a schedule in terms of the scope and the price and all that. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kraus, see, come back up. So I wanted to present our youngest employee of the Department of Public Works, who is now going to get the Engineering Society of Baltimore's Young Engineer of the Year Award. So now you get the mayor's citation. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so what this also says is that for all those who are studying engineering in our colleges and universities, our Department of Public Works is a great place to work. It allows talent to bubble up to the top. Thank you.
Thank you.
How old are
How old are you?
34.
you? 34.
Ooh. He looks 21.
He looks like a teenager.
Is that the youngest we have in the Department of Public?
Within my section.
Oh, in that section. Okay, all right. See, I was going to say, because we told them to hire some young people over there. Because, you know, you're tittling over. Okay, but congratulations. I also wanted to take this time to recognize some wonderful workers in the housing department, because right after the election, many of you know that Pete Hammond came on board with me to talk about some of the problems that we saw and things that I heard from people while I was campaigning. One of them was the permitting process that exists here in the city and how cumbersome it was and how many trips people had to make to come downtown. And so our first conversation when I was talking to Pete Hammond was, why can't we just put this stuff online? It just doesn't make sense. Why are we making people go through all of these loops in order for things to take place in our city? So he, in turn, had a conversation with our interim director for housing, and they got together, and he put together a really great team of folks who took a visionary approach to how we deal with this particular problem. So I wanted to present the team to you, but before I do that, I want to ask our Commissioner of Housing, Braverman, to say a few words on behalf of your team.
Thank you,
You can
Madam
shift over
Mayor.
to the other side.
And good morning, everybody. Good morning, Jane. I want to introduce them to you as well, and want to say that we, do about 30,000 permits a year, probably about $2 billion worth of work permitted in calendar year 16. And everything that was a 1- and 2-family dwelling alteration and addition had to come downtown. So you had to come downtown to get a permit, and the idea was, and as effective, as efficient as we could be, it's still time traveling downtown. And even if we got you in and out in an hour, you're still going to travel back out. And the idea was to keep you on the job, let you get your permit at 2 in the morning. So at 7:30, you're on the job. How can we keep our contractors as productive as possible? And I know as much as some of them have built relationships with our staff and love to come down, we would do what we could to make that optional. If they want to come downtown, they can. And so we literally set out to do it in an atypical way, which was, we did not, and these are among the many options, but we selected the one where we decided to build in-house. And so I want to introduce you to the team. That's, even if we had contracted out at a cost of probably $2 million, you'd still need the internal subject matter expertise with which to consult. So at the end of the day, we would almost be working about the same amount. So now one person I'm going to introduce you to, we rarely ever take out, Madam Mayor, because
Can you believe this?
yeah,
Well, go
this is
ahead.
like the
Tell
$2 million
this story.
man,
Yeah.
So we just like, we don't even want you to use his name. So, but that said.
I got it now, though.
Yeah. That said, and we do work together. So the permitting work that we do, it builds systems that a platform that all the city agencies use. So I'm going to say that missing this morning is Nadia Morgan, who's in Trinidad, is kind of our Uber project manager, and Gansham Patel, who is in charge of all permitting out of DHCD in the city of Baltimore. And here with us today is Eric Uttenreither. On my left, he's in charge of height for our organization. I'm not, but and he's in charge of construction and demolition. So all the 75,000 inspections, the 27, actually all 30,000 permits that trades inspectors inspect, they all report to him. So this has to be something that is user-friendly for them. So Eric helped manage our beta testing and identifying folks. Jeff Veal on my right there. Jeff is basically every permit in the city of Baltimore, as I said, has to go through Jeff's brain because he is the zoning administrator for Baltimore City. So it's this system has to work from a land use perspective as well. If you're not going to come downtown, Jeff has to be part of that the design so that we can understand how to pull land use issues out. Peggy White. Peggy runs the one-stop shop. Everybody who ever got a permit in the one-stop shop had to come through Peggy's staff. And so this had to work for her staff, and she had to approve the design. So we always say, if we can get Peggy to smile, which is very rare, then we were doing a good job. And Mara D'Angelo is in charge of special projects in permits and code enforcement. She kind of did a lot of the daily work here, and I've saved the best for last because, Madam Mayor, we don't even if he steps forward, no flashes, please. But this is Shushan Chia, and he basically did he's an applications architect. He did the overall design. He also is an engineer, Madam Mayor. He started in doing plans review, and now he's. Are
you allowing him to speak at all?
If you would like, we can do that. But this is the team, so it's a $2 million product. It's live, and since we have launched it, we're on any given day, we're between 30% and 40% of all the permits issued online already, and we're only about a month into it. So people have taken advantage of the opportunity not to come down, and we're not offended by that, and we feel that that's the direction that Baltimore City wants to go.
Again, I mean, this kind of talent also saves the city a lot of money, as you could well hear, that some of this could have been contracted out, could have cost us a lot of money in contracting, but yet what we find is that right inside of our own city government, that we have talented people who can not only help us save money, but also help us to become more transparent and more efficient. So we'll present them with certificates.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure folks will appreciate it. They worked very hard on this project.
And so you all know that the city has a Orioles box. And what we do, many of those boxes get shared with local nonprofit organizations. Just Saturday evening, we let the library system use it at their fundraiser, and they actually raised $9,000 because I gave away two. Because they raised $4,500, and then I said, if they can get another $4,500, we'd give it away twice. We do that for a lot of nonprofit organizations, but we also take the opportunity to salute some of our people in city government. And so they will be guests in the mayor's box. Okay.
We're really looking forward to that. Yeah.
Because there are 80-some odd games, you all, by the way, as you all know. So Jeff Veal, your certificate of recognition. Thank you. Eric, that's the tall guy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mara D'Angelo, thank you. Peggy White. They don't even want us to call your name, Shusha. Chia, come on up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can say a few words if you want to.
I just do whatever they tell me to do.
Madam Mayor, I wish that was true. If we, I don't mean it in that way. I mean, Shishan does way more than we ask him to do.
Oh, God.
He's so embedded in our operations that if we say, this is what we want, he actually says, no, that's not what you want. Let me just build it this way, and if it doesn't work. So that's what I meant.
Okay. Shusha, it's okay. I just want to say thank you all, Pete. Thank you, and thank you all. And congratulations for doing such great work on behalf of the city. Peggy, you smiling? Okay. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you. Whew. You all can leave now.
All right, we're going. You don't have to tell us twice.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whew.
We're happy to be smiling and laughing again in this room.
Oh, God, and it's hot.
Maybe the White House ought to adopt the format of the mayor of Baltimore.
Whew. It's a little warm in here, so. Any questions for me?
How do you feel about the conclusion of the General Assembly session and specifically the Black Caucus's call for medical marijuana expansion?
Well, I was sorry to see they didn't get their expansion. I know that they worked very hard. I think it got caught up in the last few hours of the session. I don't know if they're going to have a special session, but if they do, I'm sure that this is something that will be taken up. I know they're calling for a special session. But I can also say that getting control of the school board is a plus, I believe, for the city, and the ability to provide more funding for the school system. I think we went above and beyond. We've got our young people now can also ride the buses and so forth for free. We were able to add that additional. We also got, I don't know if you all know this, $2 million in the budget for the consent decree was also provided. School construction money is there. So I'm really pleased with where we are. We are, as you well know, in police negotiations, and so we did hold up on the getting the citizens on trial boards because we're still negotiating that. I think the good piece is that having the consent decree signed also reinforces the need for citizens on trial boards. So I'm very pleased with the way that the session ended for Baltimore City specifically. And there's a lot of restoration in there around the libraries and the lengthening of the hours. So we're very pleased with where we ended up.
What about the, as I understand, the latest is the governor still trying to decide whether he'll sign the 5 paid sick days, which was something that you really took up while you
My bill. Nobody listens to me. I told them last year to pass that bill because, first of all, it was actually President Obama's bill. He had asked states to pass a paid sick leave bill. We were very close last year. It did not come to a vote. So I'm hoping that they pass a paid sick leave bill. It is absolutely necessary for many of the workers throughout our state.
I was going to ask about the manufacturing legislation. How would that impact the city, moving forward with Fort Covington, possibly Under Armour? Is there any insight you can?
Well, again, I don't have all the information on it, but I can tell you that it is a plus for Baltimore. We have this whole manufacturing group. We just brought an individual in who will be focused on manufacturing for the city. And you can see it growing in Baltimore, and so for us, it's a plus. But I can also say yesterday, and this is not just about manufacturing, it's about the port and the areas down there. I was down at what's the name? Down, no, not Locust Point. I was also day before yesterday down at, what's the big company? Amazon. Amazon has some 3,000 people working there. Nearly 1,000 of them are from Baltimore City, and they're hiring. And so they are continuing to grow in our city. It is a great plus for Baltimore City. And whatever we can do around manufacturing, the port, increases greater job opportunities for the city. Very exciting.
What's the status of the FOP negotiation at this point? It's been
We've got, yeah, they were the first ones at the table, actually. As you well know, I said back in December that I wanted the FOP at the table, and that citizens on trial boards were very important for us. Their work schedule is also important for us, and so I know we have a few more dates in April, and I'm hoping that we can come to a conclusion by the end of April as relates to their contract.
End of April?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the NTSB school bus safety?
Well, I've asked for a copy of the report, and I've said that I trust that our CEO understands what must take place, and I think that they are also recommending that an independent audit, so to speak, oversee person be put into the mix as it relates to this, because we want to make sure that our buses are safe. And, you know, I would also caution that we should make sure that everybody is healthy. There ought to be some type of health review, especially when incidences like what occurred in this particular case. There ought to be a full evaluation of our accidents and how do we cure those kinds of problems moving forward.
Madam Mayor, today's the 2-year anniversary of Freddie Gray's arrest.
Mm-hmm.
Are there still unanswered questions for you about everything that happened to him, and if so, what are they?
Well, let me just say that because that's not my role, you know, I am still saddened for the family themselves, because the loss of any child is hurtful to anyone. I know that they were able to get compensation, but compensation certainly doesn't really compensate for the loss of anyone. What I am concerned about is some of the things that were in our consent decree. And what I can tell you is that some of those things, cures have taken place. For example, making sure that there's straps inside of those vehicles, cameras inside of those vehicles, that people are transported to the police department or wherever they're supposed to be going in a very safe manner. I know that we're doing those kinds of things. What concerns me still as we move forward is, as it relates to the consent decree, that we have citizens on trial boards, because we need to build that confidence, because as you well know, what Freddie Gray represented to the entire community, to many folks in our communities, I should say, was a distrust of our police department. Yet we know that every day the majority of the police department or police officers go to work every day to do their jobs, to protect and serve. But we need to build that confidence in the community, and we need to create more community policing. We need to do cultural diversity training. We need to be able to recognize people who have issues when we see them, whether, you know, in these similar types of situations.
What about the area where Freddie Gray was arrested, which has gotten a lot of publicity?
Yes.
But I wouldn't say attention.
Well, you know, I would, let me answer it this way, Jane. The CVS has been rebuilt, but has the community changed dramatically right around where the incident as it relates to Freddie Gray? We were just there about a week ago, going from one end of Pennsylvania Avenue to the other. And I think I mentioned this to you all earlier, that field over there that's slanted. I always say it's sort of, to me, disrespectful that we don't think it's important to make sure that children living in those communities have the kind of attention that they should have, the kind of recreation facilities that they should have. And so we are paying very close attention to that. That field has been held up for 17 years for development. And while we're going to add bleachers and lights and fix the basketball courts, we know that as soon as the season is over, we're going to level that field so the children can have a real place to play. We're looking at the Shake and Bake Center there, where about, I'd say, 50 to 60% of the bowling lanes don't work, to see if we can get some private folks developing in that area. But the other thing that troubles me more than anything in that area is the amount of drug treatment and the amount of folks who are just on the streets every single day who look like they're not moving towards anything or anywhere. And so while we have our first jobs bus on the streets with the library system, I think it's going to take more than that. And so while I see some things transforming in those neighborhoods, and even if you look around, you'll see some development, I keep saying that we can't develop these neighborhoods with so much drug treatment in one particular area. It just doesn't work. And so we've got to figure out how do we disseminate some of that traffic. That library on the corner of Penn North, I was in there just the other day. I mean, what a fantastic system. I mean, you go in there and people are on computers, children doing their homework. Up on the upper level, people are in the workroom looking for jobs. And then you've got folks in there who are trying to develop resumes and so forth. So I think we've got to pay more attention to that area. I can tell you that 1563 North Fulton Street that I talked about in my inauguration address has been torn down as of a few weeks ago. But again, we've got to pay particular attention to those neighborhoods and communities, to those young people who live there and the families. We've got to provide some relief for the trafficking that it just goes on there. I've gone all times of all different hours during the day, on the weekend. It's just too much, and we've got to work on it.
Madam Mayor, what role do you believe police played in Freddie Gray getting his injuries?
I have no idea. Just not my responsibility. My responsibility as the new mayor of the city is to protect our citizens, to create a better environment for community policing. So I can't go back. I can only move forward, and that's what I'm focused on. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.